Hey folks, this is Meredith with the Papery Craftery, and today I'm going to be using my quilling comb and showing you how to make some really easy paper stars. So of course you will need to grab your quilling comb. Yours might look like this, it might look slightly different, it might just be a regular hair comb. They will all work for this. I am going to be using two different colors of paper. I have a nice true red and some white for sort of a nautical vibe. I have some Elmer's glue in my needle nose container. This is the quilling tool I'm going to be using, just the needle side. And I have a paintbrush in case I need to get rid of any extra glue. And then a cork workboard covered in wax paper, just as a place to build my star. I'm not going to be using any pins in this other than keeping the paper down. Okay, so to start with, for the quilling comb, I'm just going to turn this strip of red on my needle tool just a couple of times to get what I call an anchor. If you've watched any of my quilling comb videos before, this is how I start. It's easier than trying to hold your paper in place while you get it started on the comb. You don't have to do this step. This is just what I prefer. So once I get it off of my needle tool and slid onto the bottom tooth of my quilling comb, I'm going to just ready to start the star. So I'm going to go up 8 teeth on my comb. It's about halfway, it's about 1.5 inches. Again, your comb might be slightly different, so your measurements might be something different. This might be a trial and error situation for you. So after I go up to the 8th, I'm going to go all the way back down to the bottom, straight line, put a dab of glue, and then bring my strip back over again to one side of the center, and then one tooth down. All the way back down to the bottom, another dab of glue, and then I'm going to go up on the other side of the middle on the same tooth that I did that last one. So I started on the 8th, and then I went to one side on the 7th, and then the other side on the 7th. I came back down again, and I'm going to add another spot of glue. And I'm going to continue doing this back and forth, and then going down a tooth every time, and even on both sides. And I am adding a dot of glue every time I go back to the bottom again. A lot of times on quilling combs, I don't think that's necessary. The paper will sort of hold itself as you're weaving, but I found once we start putting this star together, that if you don't do that, the center sort of pops out a little bit because you're going to move them around a bit, and that can be pretty frustrating after all the work you're going to be doing. So at this point, I've done the middle one, and then 3 on either side, and then this is going to be the last row that I do. For those keeping track, I went 8, 7, 6, 5, and this is number 4. And after I go through that 4th tooth on the second side, I'm going to pull it back down to the bottom again, tear off my excess, and then add one final dot of glue right at that little part that's hanging down, and make sure that is secure, and then I can slide it off of my quilling comb. That's what it looks like from the back. Pretty similar. It should look more or less the same on both sides. Go ahead and pull that out. It will be sort of puffy right in the center because we started with that roll for the anchor. If that does bother you, by all means, don't do the roll and just start by holding the end in place and begin weaving. It'll hold by itself after a couple of rounds. So anyway, because we're making a star, we need 5 of these, and that's going to be the 5 different points of the star. To attach them, you're just going to get your glue again and just do the tiniest of dots around the sides. And I just did one and then sort of started puzzling them together. So there's one, and then a little bit of glue to the inside of the next one, and then by the time you get to the 5th one, you'll have to put glue on both sides and get them to stick together that way. And you might have to move them around a little bit and kind of work fast before the glue dries, but it'll all work out in the end. When you're happy with the shape of your star, go ahead and use that small paintbrush and gently wipe away any excess glue that you see. If you're a fan of tacky glue, you can always use that, or even clear glue will work well for this project. While your star is drying, we're going to go ahead and make what's going to look like a button that's going to cover up the space in the middle of where the stars meet. If you don't want to do this step, that is fine. I'm sure the star without the center insert would look really cute for different projects as well, but just to cover our bases, we're going to go from start to finish on this one. I have about 12 or so inches of that same red, and I'm just going to make a tight coil with that by rolling it from start to finish on my needle tool. And this paper was giving me some grief, so I'm going to go ahead and roll it by hand. And once I have that red coiled, I'm going to add a layer of white. I just used a really long strip for this part, but it ended up being about 8 inches. You can make yours a thicker band if you want to. I just wanted just a little bit, a touch of white on mine. And we're just going to continue that tight coil. If you're not a fan of doing this by hand, you could have always glued these strips from start to finish and rolled them as one coil instead of starting and stopping the way that I did here. That's probably what I would have done on my own if I wasn't making it into a video. But gotta show everything sometimes. This is about 8 inches or so. I'm gonna tear off any excess and give it some glue and glue that down. And now I'm gonna add another short strip of that same red and continue on my way to add another band of that same red color. After that last strip of red is finished, I wanted to add just another small detail, so I decided to make this into a dome shape instead of just leaving it flat. So I just gently pushed up the center with my thumb. I didn't use a mold or anything this time. Add some glue to the underneath, the part you're not going to see, and then brush that glue out. That's going to keep the shape from collapsing once it dries. It really couldn't be easier to add this last detail to your star. Just a little bit of glue to the underneath and plop it right on. That's it for the star. Of course, I couldn't let it go that easily. I had to make a variation. I just wanted to show another star, exactly the same size, exactly the same technique, except we're going to add a little bit of a stripe to this one instead of making it all one color. So this time it's going to be navy, and starting off with another anchor. I'm going to start this one exactly the same way. On my quilling comb, I'm going up 8 spots, so it's around the middle. It's a little over 1 inch, and back down again with the glue on every step, just to be on the safe side for this. And I'm going to the left and adding some glue, and I'm going to the right and adding some glue. After I tear off anything that's left. I'm going to get rid of that for a second. Like I said, glue this part down, and this is where the stripe's going to come in. I'm going to get the white strip. I'm going to go ahead and glue it on right at the back, right where I stopped the last strip. Hold it for a second or two to make sure it sets, and then I'm going to continue like I never stopped, like it's all one big strip, the same exact way. add a little strip, I'm sorry, add a little glue to the bottom, and then go on the other side, come back down, and this is all the white that I want, so I'm going to go ahead and tear off that excess, add a little bit of glue, and I'm sure you can figure out what's happening next. Since I just am making this in 2 colors, I'm going to put some glue on the back and continue on with that blue strip and make 2 more rows with the blue, adding some glue every time I go. And once you get those last 2 rows, you can go ahead and slide this blue piece off of your quilling comb and make 4 more exactly the same way. There you go. It'll look something like that. And I also wanted to share a really old kind of a door hanging or a wreath, a wall hanging even, that I made when I first made these stars a few years ago for my website. They are, like I said, pretty old. They've just been hanging in my studio for years. But just to give you an idea of what you could do with these, I really like this rope wreath. I thought that was really cute. And I just added a striped ribbon to the back. And that's it. But you can use these just like anything else. Use them for cards or whatever. If you want to play around with the sizes, you can make them big and small. It's a good summer project. And I'm sure once you get the stripes down, you can be inspired to make all kinds of different stars. As always, I hope you enjoy this project. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I will leave links to everything you need to know about this in the description box below the video, all supplies, any other links you might need to see. And I will see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.